is fingerspelling for literacy, why it's necessary, and the techniques we can use to make it successful. So native ASL signers use fingerspelling in 10 to 15% of everyday conversation, depending on the topic. Sometimes it's more with more technical terms, and then sometimes it's not as much, but either way, it is a key component of sign language. And a lot of people have thought that fingerspelling was used for more English words, or to borrow English for sign language, but it's actually just for the equivalent of an English word that there isn't a sign for. So the students who excel in reading have different skills that they use that are able to associate the words with the print. They are able to view a fingerspelled word and write it down, rather than having it all spelled out for them, such as truck, where you can truck, and they can see it and put it down rather than looking up for the T, looking up for the R, U, C, and then the K. But they can kind of combine it all into one and record it on paper. They're also more skilled at translating initialized signs and knowing what words are associated with what letters. The fingerspelling ability also correlates with reading comprehension skills, sometimes contextual, but either way, better readers are better at recognizing the words and then writing them down all together as a whole. So most of the time, deaf children that are born into deaf families have had more exposure to fingerspelling words because deaf families use it as such an integral part of their language and are able to use it more fluently, which will also affect their literacy skills. But in the deaf community, fingerspelling is used so much, and having that again and again and again will help the deaf student develop their fingerspelling skills, as opposed to hearing parents who will often try to find signs or find signs to either home signs or other signs that they can use to where they don't have to use fingerspelling. So this is a girl who is 15 months old, and as you can see, her mother is going through and showing her letters and their correspondence with the English print of the letters. And you can see that she will recognize the letters that her mom is showing her. Here she's playing with magnets, and she is pointing to the A, and the mom is showing her that it is an A. And so this starts very young in a child's life. As you can see, she's 15 months old, and she's able to grasp the letters and their fingerspelling equivalent. So when can you start teaching fingerspelling? Well, we have seen it and as young as 13 months old. And this child, again, this is the same girl, and at the same point in her life, she's 15 months old. You can see her attempts here at fingerspelling. And as you can see, the mom shows her the M in her book, and she tries to copy the fingerspelling here and recognizes that it looks like the magnet on the refrigerator that says Mama on it. One other thing to recognize with children like this, as they learn fingerspelling, they see the fingerspelled word as a sign altogether. They don't see the M-A-M-A, they see Mama all together as a whole, so they're able to recognize it as a fingerspelled template, not as the individual letters. So deaf teachers have been found to use fingerspelling about 50% more than hearing deaf ed teachers in context. And interpreters are also found to avoid fingerspelling Sometimes they'll use classroom signs, home signs between students. Rather than showing a fingerspelled word again and again and again, they'll show it or not show it at all and invent a visual picture, which while that may get the message across, you're not showing the word as it would be found in print. And it's interesting why it could be avoided. Some interpreters may avoid it due to lack of confidence, lack of fluency, or practicing with fingerspelling, or maybe they're not comfortable with either their expressive skills or the receptive skills of watching a student sign back to them. So the average reading level of a deaf high school graduate, the average is 4th grade. So what we need to do to help the student be successful in their literacy is facilitate fingerspelling, reading, and writing skills. And when these are all used together, they'll be able to access that higher reading and vocabulary abilities. So again, we need to revisit what skills that we need to be able to fingerspell words and recognize it in print and be able to achieve those higher reading levels. And deaf teachers have been found to use several different techniques for this. One thing is chaining, and this is used to introduce a new concept. So in this example, we're going to use the word hurricane. So if a student doesn't know what hurricane is, we can connect it by showing the signs, the fingerspelling, and the printed words. And it gives you a whole bunch of different methods for making those connections to understand the concept. So one example of chaining would be to point to the word hurricane written on the board and fingerspell hurricane, and then you can show the sign hurricane. Conversely, you can also fingerspell hurricane first, sign hurricane, and then write it on the board. This I personally like because you're showing them the letters first, so that they have to pay attention to that, and then they'll see the sign, and then you can put it in print. Another method is sandwiching, and this goes between fingerspelling and signing to make that connection as well. So in the same example, you would fingerspell hurricane, show hurricane, and then fingerspell it again. Same thing with chaining. We can also use this flipped around where we could sign it, show the fingerspelling, and then sign it again. So it really depends on your preference, but either way, sandwiching those together to where they're both getting the concept and the fingerspelling and not missing out one or the other. Lastly, we have lexicalized fingerspelling, which, as we know, many people refer to as loan signs because they're kind of borrowing from that, but sometimes it will leave out a letter, but either way, it gives the student an idea of how to make that connection between the letters you have and seeing the word in print. This facilitates retention just because you're using a sign that applies to the word, but then you also have the word in print that you can remember. A lot of deaf teachers will use this technique first. They can show you the sign, fingerspelling the word out, and then showing you the lexicalized version. We've seen many of these over and over again, but something such as job, where we've changed it into a quick sign, like where most people would think it is just a sign, but in actuality, it's a fingerspell version. So the same bus, do, back, all of these, they would show the sign, fingerspell. So these are a few of the techniques that we can use to achieve these goals, and those are some of the methods that deaf teachers follow and are able to use these to reach those higher reading level goals and get deaf students on level or above level. And it's kind of our responsibility as the deaf education team with teachers, interpreters, to make sure that we're really reinforcing and supplementing the fingerspelling to help their literacy skills. some references if you want to check out any articles. All of these researchers and interpreters, deaf educators, they're really fantastic in their field and really have a lot to say about it. But that's what I've compacted into today. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.